the much anticipated and much talked about British Paratrooper edition. And of course, this episode is going to focus on the late war British Paratroopers, or Little Red Devils, as they're sometimes known. I know, James, you've been working hard on this since Christmas. Now, me personally, I would have finished them in half the time. But if any of you guys watched Part 5 or watched Episode 5, Part 1, you'd know why it took him so long and why it was worth it. So, James, why don't we get started by, you telling us what's in the box?
Yeah, no problem, Dan. Basically, this box, number BBX10, like anybody knows what that is the Parachute Company for Late War. These are miniatures that you can build a company for Flames of War for World War II, British paras, Canadian paras, any of those allied type guys.
Oh, really? You could do like any nationality paratroopers with this one group, with this box set?
Not Americans. And there might be some people that'll complain about doing Poles as well, but...
But I mean, as far as coming out of the British book, right?
Right.
Even in late war, it's like all those, what do they call all the
Commonwealth Allies.
There you go. That's
right.
what I was thinking of.
So basically,
the Empire.
the Empire, the mighty Empire.
Right.
So what's in this box here is you have enough miniatures to build an entire company. That's 3 combat platoons plus your HQ and attachments that go with the HQ. You actually do have enough miniatures to get all 3 combat platoons that you can take, and if you finagle your miniatures right, you can actually get all 4 air landing platoons out of this box too.
Very cool. And they actually have all the models armed the way they're supposed to be armed?
Yeah, you got guys with Bren guns, you got guys with Sten guns, you got guys with rifles, with the Enfields, and it's a real nice, it's a great box set. With the HQ, you get enough Bren teams to fill out your HQ, you get enough Piat teams, you get enough sniper teams, you get 3 sniper teams in this box. I think that's pretty cool. And you get some light mortar teams, and along with a special character. And a radio guy and a bugler. I don't even know if I can say that word, bugler.
The important thing is you have your musician.
Right.
So if you ever flee, you get a +1 to your... oh wait, wrong game.
Yeah, wrong game. But anyway, it's a great box. Obviously, you get all the bases that you need with the figures and everything like that. I think in total, this box touts to have 142 miniatures in it. Of course, all that really means to me is that's 142 guys I got to paint, which I look forward to.
Yeah, well, for those of us who play Soviets, so what?
Yeah, right.
Now, okay, so you get your box, you get them out. We know from episode, or part 1 of this episode, that you get a box, you check, make sure it's all there, then you clean it, you prime it, and it's ready to go. Then what do you do?
Well, then the next thing I'm going to do is what are these guys supposed to look like? I mean,
exactly.
Did they have red shirts on? I mean, they're called the Red Devils. You know, do they have red pants?
Do they have a pitchfork?
Right. Well, so what I did was I went and found some reference.
Okay.
Now, obviously, there's a lot of different ways you can get your reference online or at your local library or whatever books you want to buy.
Did you just say get your reference on?
Get your reference on.
All right.
But the 3 main places I drew reference from was from actually Battlefront's D-1 book. It has all the rules and army lists for the paratroopers of said box set.
I am seeing this for the first time right now.
It's a really cool book. If you don't have it and you have any interest in paratroopers, whether it be American or British, it's a really cool book. You actually get 4 different lists in it. You get 2 British lists, the air landing and the parachute list, ditto with the Americans. You get a paratrooper list and a glider assault list.
So this just has stuff for the Americans and the British.
And the British, right. There's no Germans or no Russians or anything like that.
Very Anglo.
Yeah.
All right.
So past that,
So this is scratch the surface. Then what?
Yeah, because actually there's a lot of good painting tips in this book. They tell you a lot of the different colors, which is good. But the other piece of reference I got a hold of was the Osprey book, the Paris 1940 to 1984.
What series is that?
It's the Elite series. It's actually the first in the Elite series.
Wow, the first book. These guys must be hardcore.
Well, they are, and it's a really great book. It's a light read, and it briefly covers the history of the British Paras from 1940 to 1984. So obviously it doesn't just focus on the World War II Paras, but it's definitely got enough images and text in there to get you started.
Right.
Now, the last piece of reference that I drew upon is a book that I cannot recommend enough. This book is worth twice the price of whatever you find it for. It's part of a series of books from the History and Collection series. Now, this is actually a French company, I believe.
I was about to say history spelled funny.
Yeah, and these books are really hard to get a hold of. You got to scour the internet for them, or you can order them direct from this company across the pond, but it's really high expensive shipping, so I suggest trying to go through Amazon or somebody like that. But this series is really great. It's got a whole book on nothing but the British and Allied pairs. Well, it includes the Canadians, and it also includes the French. There's another book that goes along with it that's just on American.
This actually has pictures of like the real clothes in here.
Yeah, it's all photographs. It's really great. It's actually got guys, all
models, right?
Yeah, models,
okay.
all modeling the real deal. You've got everything, every piece of equipment. If you ever wanted to know what color was the string on that bugle I was having such a hard time talking about, you can actually see a real picture of a bugle in here.
That officer rank and insignia.
Yeah, these books are a wealth of information. There's also there's also two other books that go along in this series. It's the British soldier in Normandy, and then it's actually a two-part series, and it just really goes into detail. I really can't say enough about these books. They're worth so much money. I wish they had a book of this for every single army that was involved. Yeah, ever. Yeah, outside of World War II, ever. I mean, these books are really great. They have the guns, they have the webbing,
there you go.
They have the maps.
Nice.
And the other books, they even show what kind of vehicles were used, where all the markings go. For all you people out there that are wondering, okay, where do I stick my decals on my trucks? Well, these books have all that information. It's really great stuff.
And go figure. It's a book about uniforms and color.
Yeah, it's great.
That's an amazing accomplishment.
And unlike the Osprey, don't get me wrong, I love the Osprey books, but these are actual real color photographs of the real stuff. Whereas Osprey, the only negative to the Osprey is it's all either black and white photos or anything in color is an artist illustration of what it's supposed to look like. So basically, you're kind of having to rely on him to decide what the right color of a particular item might be.
So you're not exactly seeing the thing; you're seeing a representation of the thing.
Right, and we all know what copies of copies tend to look like. But basically, that being said, I've got my reference, so now I know what color the chin strap on the helmet's supposed to be.
Now all you've got to do is marry that to some brand of paint.
Right. Yeah. And now the easiest thing here, if you're into Flames of War, is going with the Vallejo paints.
Right. Now, do these guys have one of the box sets?
Yeah, they actually do. There's a late war British paint set.
Okay. So that's a good start.
It's a great start. It's going to come with all the basic colors I'm going to talk about, although the rest of these, I'm going to use about 3 times as many colors that actually come in this box set. But never fear, if you don't want to buy all these paints, basically if you've got a lighter shade of a darker, I'm talking about, then just add some black to it, or if you've got a darker shade of a light that I'm talking about, just add some white to it, and you'll basically get the same effect.
Okay, so you basically use the technique where you use 3 pre-made paints, one for a base, one for a highlight, one for a
highlight, a shadow,
and
mid tone, right.
As opposed to lightening and darkening one type of paint.
Right now, and of course, this all is based on what kind of paints you have, what colors you have on hand, how much time you want to spend. I'm very lazy, so I don't like to have to do a whole lot of color mixing if I don't have to. I'm certainly willing to mix my colors, but if I can just go buy a paint color already, the color I want, that's just one less step I got to take. So we are going to see some of the colors on here that have been mixed with other colors. But for the most part, these are all just right out of the bottle, what they look like on the miniature.
Look for the step-by-step painting process of the Red Devils in The Hobby, Episode 5, Part 3, The Red Devils Special.